Does America need a third party? Well, that's the question we've been asking Americans periodically for the last 9 years or so, going back to 2003. And Americans' views on that really vary from year to year. Back in 2003, we found a clear majority who said, no, the current Democratic and Republican parties are adequate. We don't need a third party. But by 2007, we had flipped. That is, the American public had flipped their attitudes, and you had the majority saying, oh yes, we need a third party. Then in September of '08, just before, or a month or two before, the Obama-McCain election, Americans were back split on that issue. Then following that, in 2010 and 2011, Americans were back saying, yeah, we need a third party. And guess what's happened now? We're in September of 2012, and we're back where we were in September of '08. Americans split essentially right down the middle in terms of saying that we do or don't need a third party. Now, there is a big difference in views on this by party affiliation. Now, this is no great shock, but fascinating nevertheless. Republicans and Democrats are quite equal, with a slight majority saying that the current parties are adequate. But that fairly sizable group of Americans who initially identify as independents when we ask about partisanship, they say, no, we need a third party. And again, I say this is not surprising because these independents are not attached to the system. At least they're not attached to the system to the degree that they have a party ID when we initially ask them. So they're more likely to say, yeah, I don't identify strongly with either party, and we do need a third party. Now, does all this mean that there's going to be a huge groundswell of support for a third party candidate this year? Well, we don't see it in the data. In this same poll, we ask Americans, who would you vote for, Obama or Romney? And then we listed 3 third-party candidates, Virgil Goode, Jill Stein, and Gary Johnson. Well, you see the results in front of you. Just 1% of Americans say that they would vote for each of these candidates, certainly suggesting that at least these third-party candidates aren't providing the kind of alternative that Americans would look for in a third party. That's an update for you on this perennial question about Americans' interest in a third-party candidate. I'm Frank Newport, Gallup's Editor-in-Chief.